Welcome everybody to Tao of the Day. This is Martin John, and I'm here to present you your Tao for the day. I ask anybody that's interested to come up, pick a number between 1 and 81, and I will read your Tao for the day. Now, the Tao isn't something that you necessarily have to get every day. But and I say that because, it's good for you to meditate on what the Tao has offered you and how it relates to many different aspects of what you're dealing with in the moment. So, if you are dealing with something right now, or if you want a Tao for your new year, um, that would be great. You can always message me on Instagram, and or here if you can ask me questions and other things like that, and I can read the Tao for you as well. But the Tao is an ancient text written about 600 BCE, and it's full of all sorts of wisdom and insight into how to live what I say a more reasonable life, or a life that is in accordance with Tao. And Tao essentially is the underlying nature of the order of the universe. Um, so it is what everything is built off of. A lot of people could utilize the term God, and that's fine. I do think God, as we understand God in the major religions, is something that Tao created. And so when you look at when you look at God, and you say, well, God is something that always was and always will be, and the underlying nature of what God is would be Tao. And so that is another aspect of how to look at the depth of what Tao has to offer. Julie, almost a happy new year. How are you, dear?
Almost. We are in between time.
We are in that limbo week
We
of between Christmas and New Year, where nothing happens, and yet it
Everything
is, yeah,
happens.
it is such an important week to like really kind of set ourselves up to get back to to whatever 2023 is going to be. It's an interesting like reset. It's an
Yeah.
interesting, like you go into the holiday, you go into the Christmas period, and in doing that, you get really pulled out of your normal routine and your normal life. And then there's this time, which is like this limbo of waiting to actually
Mm,
start again,
yes.
you
So
know, and
it's a calendrical, which is a word I made up. A
yes, it is.
calendrical structure that is
Yeah,
housing
it's
the space
it's
for
such a
the
it,
catalyst of change. How about that? I'm going for it today.
yeah, and it's, I mean, if we look at this time, and it's cold in England, and it's really cold in Chicago. I have some frozen pipes in my new house and stuff, and we have to
Oh,
figure that
yes.
out. And I got some dripping, and I got, we got to deal with some stuff this week. Um, but
it's
but it's not
it's
it's
flow.
not
Your flow has been frozen in time.
and it's really, and it's interesting how powerful water is, especially when it freezes
Mm,
in a confined space. It just bursts out of the seams. So we will see how everything gets on. I'm currently doing well, and nothing's getting bad. I mean, I got the water turned off to the house, and I'm just
yeah.
turning it on when I need it, and I'm gonna. I found out that the local hardware store delivers things for free, and so since I don't have a
That's
car yet,
cool.
I ordered a reciprocating saw and a couple other things, so I can kind of dig in and see where the problem is, and then I got plumbers coming on Friday, so hopefully all will be worked out in good time. I do like this stage of everything because it's like I'm caring for something that hasn't been cared for a long time. It's interesting. The people who owned this house before me really cared about the surface of it.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I care about the structure, like
Yes.
beyond
You
that,
are
right?
you are like us. When we got this boat that we got, me and Brad, we oh my god, we concentrated on the hull.
Yeah.
If you would like supporting hull as you do, we concentrated on the hull because and the water line, the point where the water and the air meet, because that's where the corrosion happens.
Right.
So it was hull, engine.
Yeah.
Those were the two things, and also how simple are the electrics, the plumbing, and the gas. All absolute, no, nothing done with aesthetics.
Right.
Everything has a basic bottom line of the old triangle um, thing to do, a job to do, and those basic bottom end ones, like you said, are the
Yeah.
important ones because you deal with those. You have that beautiful thing that I often mention called safety.
Yeah.
That's where we're aiming at.
That's right.
The
And
aesthetics, the
as I
beauty, the comforts can all come later as long as you've broached and got hold of that bottom end,
That's
that
right.
very bottom rung of that ladder, those two sticks that hold all the steps together.
That's right. Like, as I'm going through, like, my first is like, okay, make sure, like, if I have to replace all the water pipes, I will.
Yes.
That's fine. Because and then maybe I won't be able to do much else after that for a while, but that's okay because all of that is then done, and we're going to do it in a way that we're not going to have to worry about pipes freezing. We're going to do it in a way that, like, and so as I approach all of this, it's all very much I have to take care of the gas, the electrics,
Yes.
and the water,
Yes.
and as long as all of those things are set, then I can deal with the floor. I can deal with the walls. I can deal,
Yes.
like, until those are set, the floor is just aesthetic,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll cut it up. I'll remove it. That's fine. Like, because it's not doing me any good trying to
Mm.
save the floor if the floor is keeping me from the important parts of the
Yeah.
house.
Yeah. As long as you have a space to walk from one side to
Right.
the other, that's all you need to worry
That's
about.
all you need. Yeah, just a little bit of plywood or whatever. I can pull holes out of this and just cover it up for the time being. That's
Yeah.
not a
Mm.
that's not the solution, but the solution is, and it looks like I'm
It's
going to
just a
have to
step.
replace the whole foundation. Not the foundation, but like
The flooring.
the floor joists and stuff.
Yeah.
They're all bad. It looks like maybe dry rot. I don't know. We'll see.
Mm.
We shall see. But it is this week that I get to experience this, and this is a
It's an
beautiful.
adventure.
It's a good time. It's a good time, and I will take care of this home in a way that it hasn't been cared for in a while.
Yeah. Right the way back to the raw.
Yeah, that's right. Just the base elements. We start with the base elements, and the base elements have to be working for everything else
Yeah.
to be okay. So
Yeah. And even though me and Brad have been on this boat for 11 years, those base elements were still the main through the whole 11 years. Those things were still the main feature that we cared about.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, this is the end of the first month I've been here.
Yeah.
And so this is a long, long project. I'm in it for the long game. So
You're,
just
yeah.
take our time and trust and allow and receive. I mean,
And
at the
grow
beginning of
with.
this year, the beginning of 2022, receiving was on the top of my, like, what I need to learn how to do list.
Yeah.
And here we are with a home that I've received, and all of the other things I've received this year. So
Yeah.
it's such a beautiful experience at the moment.
And I come along then, Martin John, and oh my God, I've been a pain in your bum, haven't I?
you've been a Like, actually, it's like, like, one of the great things is, I don't get to do my work very,
No,
very often. And it's not even my work. The work that I did with you, although it is my work, it's not my work. I didn't do anything. I just presented you.
you
And
did.
that's the thing. Like, the more I can do that, the more I love doing that. But it is also my ego getting in the way, saying this is mine, and it's
But
not.
it's
And
good
I
though.
and I
It's good because you can see the product of
Yeah,
that initial connection,
I
and
do love that.
those that the little shining of the torch for me when I sat in the dark.
Yeah.
He shone the torch around a little bit so I could start realizing where
Yes.
I was all on my own from the Martin John
You're breaking up a little bit. I just wanted
torch.
to, I don't know if you
It
stepped
ignited
into an
something in
area.
me right for myself. Okay.
Mm, yeah.
It's me trying to go on about myself, so the ether's saying shut up to me. But you've watched your work. You've watched your work. You claim
Yeah.
it because how you presented it is the essence of Martin
Yeah.
John. It's not everyone that would be able to connect with me that
No.
way and walk me through a little bit of pain,
Quite a bit,
but
actually, from
still
what I've
be there. Yes, yes, because I had to go through that acknowledgement
Yeah.
first. So, it is your work. Claim it because you did such a beautiful job.
Oh,
Such a
I
beautiful,
agree. I agree.
good
Thank you,
guidance.
Buck.
Good guidance,
You,
man. Good guidance.
and you received that really well as well. So
Yeah.
let's grab a number. Let's see if we got
42, the meaning of life.
42. The meaning of life.
According
42.
to
Oh
Hitchhiker's
yeah,
Guide to the
according to the
Galaxy.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the
Yes.
meaning of life, entitled "Holding Both Male and Female." Tao gives birth to universes. Universes give birth to planets. Planets give birth to beings, and beings give birth to everything else. Tao is the great mother. All else holds both male and female. By all things embracing both, harmony is achieved. To feel alone is avoided by men, yet that is where no identity resides. The master holds no identity. She embraces her aloneness, realizing when she is at one with herself, she is at one with all things.
Lovely.
So these are, like, sometimes I look at these and I'm like, these get confusing. And this is my translation. And so going through it section by section is like always like really important, and that's what Tao of the Day really gets to dive in and do.
Mm.
So the first section states Tao gives birth to the universe, universes give birth to planets, planets give birth to beings, beings give birth to everything else. As we see, like, everything except the Tao is both given birth to and gives birth.
Yeah.
And so they exist, right? Like, Tao exists, but it exists in the void. Universes are structural, right? They're the walls in the house. That's the masculine.
Yeah.
Universes, you can see them. They're actually physical things. They give birth to planets, another physical thing, and planets give birth to beings, another physical thing. Beings give birth to everything else, more physical manifestation. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's where we start. Tao is the great mother. All else holds both male and female, both structure and substance. By all things embracing both harmony, by all things embracing both, harmony is achieved. When you can embrace both your masculine and your feminine, you will achieve harmony. You achieve harmony because you are a physical being, but you also give birth. We all give birth. We give
Mm.
birth to ideas. We manifest to new things. We do all of this birthing all the time. And we have to be able to care for that which we have birthed as well, just like a mother.
Mm. I like the fact that we as beings give birth to our thoughts, which then give birth to a feeling.
Yeah.
I like that because the feeling is in the feminine, the space.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoy that part of me. But as I've been experiencing and learning lately, I've discovered that the thoughts and the feelings are can create the physical, the structure of my
Yeah.
life.
Right.
And so trying to equal the two out is where I've come up with this idea of I would like to manifest dollar money by using the ability of the imagination, the thoughts, and the feelings. So that's a lovely equilibrium to me,
Yeah.
which is where I would be happy. I'd be contented, not even happy, but just peaceful, maybe. At
When
one.
you can
Yeah.
combine those.
Yes. When I can combine and have an equilibrium of them, because as I'm learning and studying, I am practicing these methods with myself as well,
Yeah.
so that I can um, go forward with having experience of it myself. Do you know what I mean by that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Martin.
Absolutely. I want you to come back up so we can finish this, because this is
Yes.
like holding both male and female is really where we are starting to this is where we're starting to talk about. We're talking about holding both, like you were talking about, like, okay, you want to manifest cash, or you want to manifest something um more. And Lois, I do see you there. We're going to get you on right after Julie. Um, and when you want to manifest like money, right, like you said, like you want to do that in a way that is in accordance with your feminine, with your feelings and
Yes.
how you are approaching things. Well, I also want to point out, like what if, like, is there something you want the money to buy? Or is the money just something you want to have?
I think that it's, for me, it would be making a choice of how my life would feel when
So are you currently
when
making
I,
a
yeah.
choice?
No, I have made this choice to live my life a particular way in order to feed myself for the basics. There's no other reason why, but because that part of living in connecting with people and talking to people, and the use of the imagination, and being able to describe and encourage and suggest things to people is comfortable to me. I'm choosing that to enable myself to pay my bills, be
Hmm.
able
Hmm.
to feed myself. So it's very simple. It's
Hmm. Hmm.
all about keeping things very simple but enjoyable, so I can enjoy each moment. I don't feel then that I have to go to work and have that feeling in my stomach that makes me go, oh, I don't really want to go there, or I've got to drive to work. Or no matter, even the job I've got now, I do enjoy, but I still get that I am still under the influence of
Hmm.
going to work. So there you go. That's pretty much what we're getting to be
Yeah,
able
because
to
I don't know,
provide.
because it's not ultimately, I always look at this as it's not about having the money. It's about not having the dread
Yes.
and
Yeah.
not having the fear of people coming after you because you didn't pay them,
Yes. It's
right?
just
So if you had all of the things that your bills are of, you know,
Yeah.
electricity and internet and all of that, if somehow those things were provided for you
Would I
in
still do the job?
in a way that was that you were okay with, right? Like you
Yeah.
have to
At the
because that's the
detriment of
thing.
no one. Yeah.
Right now those things are paid for, and they are being paid for in a way that you have not come to terms with,
Yes.
which is doing your job,
Yes.
right? And so here, as we move into this next line, to feel alone, and let's let's look at both alone and separate in this, because those are two of the same things, right? To feel alone is avoided by men, yet that is where no identity resides. See, right now, what you're experiencing in your, you know, in your discomfort of getting your bills paid in this specific way, is that you feel separate. You feel like, oh, I don't want to do this. I am apart from something else, and I have to do this thing in order to get this. And you avoid feeling separate by trying to go along with the world as you see it. So then you go get a job, and that is a job that is separate from you.
Yes.
And so you feel separate by doing it
Yes.
because this is usually avoided by people. Now, if you were to separate yourself from being under the influence of the economic society completely, that would just create so much fear within you that you would be paralyzed.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I could just. Yeah, my ultimate would be to be able to live outside that sphere.
Yeah.
That would be my joy. That would be my achievement. If I could
So,
just say it's this would be my ideal, Martin.
mhm,
If I could just continually be nomadic and gain food and shelter through means of barter story, you know, that would be great for me. I'd love that.
yeah,
But the restraints of having a particular place to live, i.e., address,
yeah,
then allows me the things like having a driving license,
right,
having a bank account,
right,
having the bills come in and arrive at a static place.
right.
That's what worries me, is that I cannot. There seems to be a barrier between me being able to function at a particular level
Hmm. And there is,
because,
and that is
yes,
because our society wants you to. It makes it very, very difficult for you to function on that in that plane.
yes,
You know, and so this is where this line, to feel alone is avoided by men. And it is avoided by men, which is why society says if you do these things, you are going to feel alone.
yes,
Now, it goes on to say, yet that is where no identity resides. If you
yes,
could actually feel alone, if you could be alone, if you can be alone in your life and be like, okay, this is my life, and I'm not under the influence of anything or anyone else. If you could be in that space, well, then you would have no identity. You wouldn't have an identity. And what this is talking about is the identity of masculine and feminine, right? You're
mm,
going out and you're getting a job, that's masculine. But the energy and the feelings that you're having are like that feminine side. And you push those down so that you can do the structural thing of paying your bills and all of that stuff.
yeah.
The master holds no identity. She embraces her aloneness, realizing
Oh,
when she is at one with herself, she is at one with all things.
there, that's my goal. It's a hard one, but I'm willing to give it a go.
It is, and you know, and that's the thing. Like this brings about aloneness, and that's the fear.
Yeah, Yeah, I don't want
It's
that
so
feeling.
scary. It's so scary. And it's not just aloneness. It is being pushed out. It is the fear of being rejected. It is the
Mm.
fear of not being, like, nobody wanting to barter with you.
Yeah, it's the feeling of not having somewhere where I belong.
Right.
Yeah,
And that is scary.
yeah, it can be, but
Yeah. And there's no,
to that.
because, and you have spent your entire life being Julie, and Julie is a label that is female, that is a mother and a grandmother, and you have all of these things going on in your life, and you're a healer, and you're, and yeah, all of that. And in order for you to step away from all of that, you
Oh,
have to step away completely from all of your identity.
yes.
And if you
Wow.
were to step away from all of your identity and not live under the influence of anything, and I always say it is, I don't know that it's possible to not live under the influence of anything.
I agree. I've thought
Be-
long and hard about it.
yeah, because you
I have.
have to, get rid of all of that. And that means like literally, like that's what like monks living on the side of mountains do. Right? They can get rid of everything because they can just pick their
But
food,
then they
trap
become
their
a
food.
monk.
What's that?
But they become a monk then. So if they are living away from society
Yeah, and I don't agree with
and
that. I think
dropping,
I think living
they
in a
still have a
society,
label.
right?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
still have
and I
that.
think what we're
So
doing
even for the even yeah,
is
even for them, it's impossible.
right.
Almost.
Yeah, because they have a label that if all of society said, okay, you can't do this anymore. Because I mean,
Yeah.
even you even see them selling their wares out on the corner. I mean,
Yes.
I'm in Chicago. I see them
Yeah.
like, and so that's the big thing, and asking for money to
My
keep things
favorite
up.
Martin is the fudge. The fudge. You got to buy the fudge.
I don't know about the fudge.
Yeah, we used to have in Gloucester. We used to have monks come into the town centre, and they were beautiful people. They were very happy and kind and loving, and they would ask you to buy fudge. They'd make homemade fudge, and they'd sell it to you, just like you said, because they still have those bases.
Yeah. And they use
It's
making fudge as an exercise in, like you have to do this. But I mean, that could be, that for them becomes their meditation. But can you, for your meditation, be your job
absolutely.
and everything else? Can that be your meditation of getting beyond your identity?
Mm. And there you have just mentioned my journey. I still would like to contact you at some point. I have in the new year, my tutor is contacting me to tell me how to uh, record and do feedback forms with people who I can practice.
Yes, practice. I am
And
I am here to
yeah,
practice, and I'm sure there are others on here as well that you'll be. I mean, I got Kelly and Lois in line. I'm sure
yeah,
they would love to work with you as well.
that
So
would be lovely. That would
I'm not
be
I'm not
like
speaking
being
for them.
held. Yeah,
I'm
that'd
just
be
I'm
like
just
being
saying
held
that.
by a friend. But if I ask, that is exactly for it is a beautiful gift that you can gift me,
I would love that.
and
Yeah.
it would be massively appreciated. And come on the journey with me. Really, is what I'm
Oh,
saying. I'd love to have you all on the
we
journey
are
as well.
all we are all on this journey together, and I am grateful to be aware of this one and to be witness to it.
Thank you. And
Absolutely.
thank you for my number 42 today,
The
Martin
meaning
John.
of the universe.
Yes, it's the asterisk in your
That's
computer
right.
world that you are um, dealing with. That is another thing that you're doing, is creating your app. So I'm
Oh
looking
yeah,
forward
there's
to that,
there's a
Martin
lot.
John.
I'm making a list today of all the things that 2023, all the like things I have to do and or that I want to do in
Mm,
2023, and the app and the Oracle deck and my floors and
Yeah, and
all
the
of these things.
pipes.
Yep, pipes and
Lovely.
it's all little by little, but we're doing
I'm going to say at this point that I'm just happy that I have a Martin John Garcia in my world.
it.
Thank you.
Well, I am happy to have truly Julie in mine. All right,
Take
love.
care. Bye bye.
Bye bye. All right, I'm bringing Lois up, and I think Kelly had to go.
Hey, Martin John.
Nope, it looks like Kelly's back on. Hey, how you doing, Lois? Yeah, Kelly's back on. Oh
I
no,
I
she has.
go
Go
ahead.
on, tell me.
No, you were saying something. Well,
Oh
let's
yeah,
finish.
like Kelly. I know Kelly has some like digital demons. Like so, there are times where things just go wrong digitally for that woman. And
Well, bring her up, and
no,
I'll
no, no.
come
You
back.
were up before her, so come on. You and
But
I,
she
you and
got
I.
digital demons. I don't want her to lose.
No, no, no. She's all,
You're saying she
like
got. I'm like, hey,
I
I
always
want her to
leave
be able to do
I always
this.
leave room for her to defeat those demons. So
Okay, okay, all right. So how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm back in my house. I was away. I was at my sister's for a couple days, and there were some frozen pipes, and I got some leaking, and I got water turned off to the house at the moment, and it's all good. And I got some tools coming in from Home Depot today, and we're gonna find out what's going on.
Oh, good. That is so good. But
Yeah,
you
like I
kind of
just
expected it. You kind of expect. You know what I mean?
yeah, no, there was always the possibility. This is an old house, and I know that there's things that are going on with it, and so I'm smart and I am handy, so I will just take it all in stride.
And I know there's a way to insulate the pipes so that they don't freeze. So
Yeah, there's new stuff where there's a wire that you can like twist around, and it'll keep the pipes at 40 degrees, and I'm gonna be doing that, and we're gonna do that once I put in all the new pipes and stuff. I'm gonna put that in, and we're going to not have frozen pipes ever again.
and that's a wonderful thing to find out now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
That's
know,
right.
in the very
As I'm,
beginning.
I was telling Julie that like for years this house was being like the aesthetics of the house were thought of, but now I come in and I think of the foundation and I think of what is the house,
The
what am I
inner work.
standing? The inner work, right?
The
I do
inner
the
work.
inner work. That's what
Okay,
I
you're
do.
doing it. And that's what it's all about.
That's right.
Because once you got a good foundation, then hey, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. It'll
You can do
stand. You
almost
can stand.
anything with the aesthetics once the foundation is good. So you're doing a good thing. So
Yeah.
anyway, I will. Today. I feel like right now. I feel grateful
Oh.
because my sister's husband went into the hospital last night. At
Oh.
first, they said he had to have surgery right away, and today they downplayed it to the surgery's going to be scheduled within the next couple of days. But he's there, and he's in good
Okay.
spirits, and he's not in pain. And I credit that to all my prayer worries that I sending out the love and the light from this community and my personal life community,
Mm-hmm.
because you know what I mean. It was kind of like Sharente's. It went from gotta have it to let's see what else we can do. Then you get to go home the next day, and now she when she had appendicitis. Now heart blockage is not appendicitis, but because they downplayed it from emergency, and he's well and open, woke, and saying he's not in pain and is waiting for breakfast. That's a damn good sign. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I'm glad to hear that.
I'm in such gratitude right now. And then Christian just told me that I sent the text at 11:11. So that tells me I need to pick 11.
All right, 11. 11, here we go. I thought you were going to pick something later, but we got 11 here. 11 is emptiness is valuable. Spokes, tire, rim, and hub all make a wheel, yet it is the space where the axle goes that makes it worthwhile. Clay is formed into a vessel. A vessel's function is to hold things, thus, its form includes emptiness. A house can be built, but if it were solid, it would be useless. It is easy to see structure, but structure is there to expose the value of emptiness.
That's good. That's
You know,
good.
anytime we build something, even the Tao starts by saying words can't express the Tao. That's the first line of the Tao. It's the first verse of the Tao is that words can't express. Words are structure. They're
Mm-hmm.
there to expose the value of the thing that's not there, of the emptiness, of the thing that you can't see, of the thing. And so all structure, my house, there's value in the space.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to get that, we have to make sure the structure is proper. The structure of the things around us in our life,
Mm-hmm.
like there's something deep. And in order to get to that,
Mm-hmm.
like we want to make sure that we're not like, I know when I was an addict, I couldn't even see the value of the emptiness that
Mm-hmm.
was within me because the structure was being poisoned.
Well, but they were also telling you that the emptiness that you were feeling was bad. It was to,
Mm-hmm.
but it was to lead you to you. So
Yes.
even in that, and there is a space between our thoughts. There is a space between our cells and neurons
Mm-hmm.
firing.
That's
Without
right.
that space, there is nothing else. So
Right.
to me, it's kind of like there is much value in the vessel, the empty vessel, because
Yes.
the empty vessel can be filled
With
with those
anything.
yeah, man, with whatever is of value to that individual soul. The vessel can be
Mm-hmm.
filled, but it can't be filled from without. It has to be filled from within.
That's right.
And that's the beauty of, to me, that's the beauty of the healing process. That's the beauty of life in it of itself. It's like this space, this empty space that if I'm looking around this house, it's a lot of empty space within one room. But the
Yeah.
thing in that space is those things, is the stuff of the essence of life, because your breath, all that takes place, the consciousness, the energy exuding from who you are, all that is in that space. So that space is very, very empty. Space is very important. Just because you don't see nothing don't really mean it's really empty.
That's right. That's right.
So yes, I like this. This is good. This is good. And then you were just talking about, we were talking about the foundation of your house, building it up, and
Mm-hmm.
being concerned about everybody being concerned about the aesthetics, but wasn't concerned about the foundation. So now you get to
Well,
do.
and I want to also look at your brother. Or your brother-in-law. I want to say,
Hmm.
like let's. There is, in this. I'm trying to see if there is a way that we could visualize this and like see how this like matches up with. I mean, there was an emergency because he had a blockage,
Hmm.
right, in his heart, and
Right.
then
And the space was necessary for the blood to flow. And the thing is, when
yeah.
I knowing him, because he is somewhat of a workaholic, as is all my sister's family.
Mm,
They work, 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 work. And we've been telling him in the past year or 2 years, slow down, don't get a job, everything, don't give him everything. So in this way, right now, while he's having to deal with this health problem, this space is becoming
mm-hmm.
very important, because he has to embrace this space so that won't give all his all to that stuff, for the material stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now he's going to have to pull stuff inside of that space in order to develop that space, because like we all have. So
Mm-hmm.
I see everything, I see things so differently sometimes than most people, but I see everything as a pure blessing. And I know that this situation, although scary and dark that it may be, this is a blessing for all concerned and for all who I've shared it with, because they get to be on a journey where they get to use their space to
Yeah.
pour into somebody else whose light is a little bit dark right now. So we just holding the light for him in that space is helping him to heal faster. Because I just got the word a few minutes ago that, oh, my dad said he's feeling fine. I talked to him this morning. He's not in any pain. He had a good night's sleep, and he waiting to eat his breakfast. Okay, but that ain't how he went in there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So to me, that, and then they said the surgery is set off within the next couple of days, downplayed from emergency. So even in our space where we've sent love and light into his space, it has enlivened him.
Well,
So
and that's the thing. Like as a workaholic or whatnot, he's filling up all of his space with structure. He's
yeah,
filling up all of his space with stuff, 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 stuff.
yes,
He gets forced into the hospital, and immediately, now that he has space,
mm-hmm,
he's cool. I mean,
yeah.
not cool, but
No,
he's
it's
like
not cool,
he's
but
stable
yes,
because he has been able to just he has been forced to do nothing.
right,
And when he's forced to do nothing, it's okay. Now, it might be stressful to do nothing for 3 days for him, and
hmm,
he'll have to face himself.
right.
But right
But
now,
yeah, right now, since the space is necessary for him in order to gather himself. So
right.
that's how I saw it when I was sick. It was a time, it was a season of sickness to get me to tune in more to my path, to not to nobody else. That thin, narrow path. They say it's a narrow path to get here and all that kind of stuff. It's narrow because you're the only one who could take it. And if you ain't taking
Hmm.
that narrow path to you, then who's taking it? Nobody. And
Right.
if you ain't on your path, then you're on somebody else's. So we have to slow down enough and allow ourselves space to get on our correct path that's going to lead to our happiness, not to our stress, not to keep us in that fight or flight mode with the stress and stuff. And I remember I talked last one time I talked to you, I was doing my research and found out that stress and fear had the same symptoms as heart failure.
Right.
So
Mm.
allowing yourself space to acknowledge the fear, to deal with whatever it is, and to go inside and fill that space with that love and that peace and that joy. Then when you come out of that space, that empty space, you're totally full. But still you're
Yeah.
still wide open too at the same time. And that's the conundrum of be like, how can I be full but empty?
Right. Now,
you
you
know, but
can't be full unless you're empty.
boy, boy, you better tell it. You better
you
tell
know,
it. Let me
like
stop.
you can't because you won't be filled with anything. You're just living in the past with all the
Yeah,
things that filled you at some other point.
yeah. And then just grabbing onto anything to try and get a semblance of being filled
Yeah.
when everything things outside you will never fill your cup. Never fill your cup. It may give you a temporary sense of, oh, I did it, oh,
Yeah.
I got it. But the whole thing is that unless you go into that space, that empty space, that void, that spot, you never can see who you truly are, to see how magnificent you are. So
Right.
that empty space is so important. And that vase is empty because we can fill it with a myriad of things. Yeah, we can fill it with poison too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But there's a whole lot of good stuff we can put in that vase. We can put love, we can put actual oil, we can actually put water, okay, to nourish us. We can put whatever in that space. But the whole thing is that we got to recognize that there is a space that we got to get to have that part, like you said, being filled but empty, and knowing that is a thing.
It is. It is. It's so important. It's so important to allow that space. And I've been seeing that. Even this morning, I woke up and I was just like, just be here, just be
Yes.
here right now, just and I went into movement that was just coming from me. It wasn't something I was choosing to do. I was like, oh, my arms feel like going here, my back feels like going here, my knees, my legs, and I was just allowing myself to be moved by the moment. And then it was like a whole thing for like a half an hour. I was just kind of still, but I wasn't, my body wasn't still, my mind was still, and it was all still just being allowing myself to be moved by that.
Yeah. And it's a place of peace.
Yes.
And dare I say contentment, because I used to think it was boredom. Like, I'm bored. No,
Mm,
no, no, you're
mm.
just at peace. You just don't know what peace feels like. You've been in
That's
chaos
right.
so long, you don't know what peace feels like.
You're
Peace feels like
uncomfortable
boredom.
with stillness. That's boredom.
Yes. Yes, exactly. So
Right.
I'm at peace, he's at peace, we're all at peace. And so I
Mm.
say be at peace. I love you, my brother, and
I love
thank
you.
you for this, because yeah, we got to remember, we got to fill, we have to have the empty vessel so that we can fill it with the stuff that we need to go on our path, on our journey. And the only sin is when you're not following that divine spark within, and you're doing all kinds of stuff following everybody else. So
Yeah,
thank you, and I'll talk to you
absolutely.
later. Okay, bye.
We'll see you soon. Bye bye. Okay, we're going to move on to Kelly, and then I got Dr. Rao in line. I'd love to say hello to Dr. Rao if you can stick around. Otherwise, I understand, brother, and we'll talk soon. Kelly.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, good. Okay. It was like staticky. Hi.
Oh, hi. How are you?
Me and electronics. I'm okay. You guys are talking about stuff a lot and structure a lot and letting things go and making space a lot, and I'm like, this always happens. That's what I'm thinking about a lot right now. So.
Yeah. Well, that's it's important, and I think that you have created so much space and have opened it up to so many your
Hmm.
children and your children's children and all of that. It's I think it's beautiful, and I think what you have to offer the world is wonderful, and your health is good.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm glad. I'm
It's
glad.
good. Thanks for asking.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's
So
just take a moment.
yeah, just breathe.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd pick number 43. Just kidding.
You're picking 43, or you're just
I'm,
kidding?
I'm just kidding. Yeah. I don't
Okay.
need it for the 10th time. Um,
Oh, are you? Yeah. Is that one that you pick a lot?
I think so. Uh, 18, Martin John.
18. This is called the losing of Tao. When Tao is lost, etiquette is observed. When etiquette cannot be abided, we find excuses to make it proper. When excuses gut the family, chaos favors the hierarchy. When all the neighbors are in chaos, blind loyalty is demanded.
Hmm. It's a really like spiritual one. Not that they all
What are
are, but it's very it feels different. I don't think I've ever heard this before.
okay? Well, let
Huh.
me read it again, just just so that you can hear it again, and then we'll start to break it down because it is fairly short. So
It's not a yeah, it's not a bad thing. It's like just it's I don't know. It's good.
yeah,
I liked it, but
no,
I'm
I
not
don't
gonna.
think it's bad. There is no bad here on
I
Daily
know,
Guidance.
I know. Silly word.
Silly,
Yeah.
silly. When Tao is lost, etiquette is observed. When etiquette cannot be abided, we find excuses to make it proper. When excuses gut the family, chaos favors the hierarchy. When all the neighbors are in chaos, blind loyalty is demanded.
Mm.
So, what are some of your first thoughts on that?
Well, I hear like so like I whenever I think about whenever anybody complains about the state of the world or humanity, I'm always talking about how things this doubt really like create fear, create a belief in lack, create a belief in separation or aloneness. Like all you have to do is just terrorize people in whatever way, and these are the basic fundamental ways it always comes down to. And that's kind of what like if you're trying to be someone you're not, if you're trying to be perfect or be fit somebody else's role for you or somebody else's idea of anything or even your own when it's not really you, like not knowing who you are, then you might find yourself on a misstep. You're trying to trying to be instead of just being.
Right.
And from
Right.
there, all the dominoes can tumble quite easily.
Right. And this is where it starts, right? This is the dissolution of Tao in a life or in society, right? When Tao is lost, etiquette is observed. So how do you take that?
Etiquette's a really cool word. It, when you're not in Tao, when you're not in flow, then you're overdoing. You're over the top. It's saying sorry when you're not sorry, or
Right.
it's being proper when it's not even like why not wear a hat inside? Who are you actually offending? Kind of thing. It's like being aware of what your beliefs are and being in line with that.
Right. You know, I talked about this verse a lot with somebody recently, and we were talking about, like, I think it was Lois actually, and we were talking about this idea of like bringing a host gift. You
Mm,
know, like there was a time where etiquette did not say when you get invited to someone's home, you bring them something. But
mm,
when people were filled with Tao, filled with love for the universe and for themselves and for others, and just living in this moment, they were guided without words to be like, I am going to bring something. You know,
expectation. Yeah.
and like women and children first, that is something that is deeply ingrained in our DNA. That's part of Tao. And we turned that into etiquette. And now we say, well, this is what happens, but it etiquette is what was observed.
Mm,
And then
yeah.
it just turned into etiquette. Now, if you don't feel like bringing a host gift and there is no etiquette, no one's going to get mad at you for not. You can't pretend that someone is mad at you because you didn't. Because the etiquette was never written down, it was never observed. And so we didn't have to, no, just being a guest is enough.
Well, the
But if
expectation
Tao,
changes that
right,
sincerity. It takes you out of
one,
authenticity and love.
right, it takes you out of being you, and you start doing things you don't want to do. You don't even want to go to the damn dinner, and you're bringing a host
Most of the
gift
time.
because
Yeah.
because it was etiquette to say yes, and it was etiquette to bring the gift. And so you've lost the Tao, you have no connection with yourself, and now you observe etiquette and you look like the bee's knees. You look externally like everything's fine, but it's not, and it starts to eat away. When etiquette cannot be abided, meaning that you can no longer say no, we find excuses to make it okay, to make it proper, that you don't abide those. It's like
And this is
I
like
don't want to bring. Go on.
it's like a mass gaslighting. This is where like
Yes.
your knowing yourself starts to get whittled away into the greater side that you're going to go into, because it's like every time you don't feel safe or you think that it's shameful to be truthful about how you are feeling, like I don't really feel like going, and that should be safe and okay. That's what I would desire for all of us, to say I'm just not feeling it. But instead, then when we say I'm not feeling it, we feel guilt and shame or something, or
And
we
we come up
lie,
with
we
excuses.
make
We
excuses,
find
and
excuses to make it okay for us to not go.
until we find that in our own heads, in our own thoughts, we're constantly making little lies to tell the
That's
next
right.
person.
That's
Hmm.
right. And that's after etiquette, right? So etiquette started this process of losing down. And then excuses picked up the slack. When excuses gut the family, chaos favors the hierarchy.
Yeah. I, when excuses gut the family, when we become so frustrated at ourselves or each other, we turn on each other, and then
Mm-hmm.
like there's always going to become a hierarchy at that point. Like now
Right.
you're out of balance. There's an imbalance. It's not even. There's a hierarchy that just got built because of that.
That's right. Because there is no longer equanimity, you now have a hierarchy.
Hmm.
And now that spreads from one family to the next. And when all the neighbors are in chaos, when all the neighbors are in a hierarchical experience, blind loyalty is demanded. And that's of politics, and that's of laws, right? Of stop signs, and all of
Faith.
the things. Faith, yes. Religion, politics, all of those things. Blind loyalty is demanded because everybody's in chaos. Why? Because everybody has excuses and we have to all abide certain things because we can't just abide etiquette anymore, and we've lost Tao so much that now we have to blindly follow the leader.
It's this is the one thing that if people could grasp this in whatever way speaks to their heart. Like the world is totally ready to be whatever we want it to be. It's always in flux, but also like we can make a difference in this very small thing because these things are created with just the first step towards dissonance, towards that like low vibration, whatever. Like, and in the same way, you can just take a first step to the other side, to a higher vibration, to a better, a more resonance with love. You know, like it's literally just one person at a time. Every time,
Yeah, yeah.
it's each
And
of us.
then, right, when one person steps and just says, okay, well, why am I doing this? And can I be honest about this? And then if we can move back, we can step back to like one, not like, not demanding loyalty, not demanding security, not demanding safety, not demanding comfort, and saying, okay, I have to say what I have to say, no matter what it is. Then you can, start, like, that is going to cause some disruption in the family because the family is currently like balanced through hierarchy and blind loyalty. When you start to break that, like I mean, I broke that in my family. Like my family treats me very different than they treat my other siblings
Mm-hmm.
because of that. It's not good or bad or anything, but
Mm-hmm.
like, and then my other siblings get to witness that, and then
Yeah,
they can move towards being themselves because they get, and my answer isn't going to be theirs, and they understand that.
absolutely. It's all. This is like where you can be in service to everybody by knowing who you are, like
Yeah.
knowing yourself and living in a truth without guilt, without like attacking yourself for feeling and being who you are with investigation and like receiving is a big part
Hmm.
of it, you know?
Yeah. So that's all, like, yeah, and that is the losing of Tao. That is number 18. That is like what happens when we lose Tao. And we are currently in a place where we're running everything on under blind loyalty.
Yeah,
Right? And
absolutely.
people are getting angry at
Yeah,
being blind and being blinded by that because they're not moving to themselves because they have been trusting external forces for so long.
they
That
double
they now
down.
they're constantly looking for proof, and they're constantly looking to be right, and they're constantly looking for all of these things that don't exist because the only thing that exists is you as Tao. And like, now, can you be still for that, and like, not lean on etiquette, not say the right thing to do, just do what is being called upon,
And
which,
not look around so much. Like,
yeah, stop
honestly,
stop googling the answer.
yeah, and stop looking at your neighbor and wondering if they see you being good or
Right.
wondering what they think about you doing. Like all of these things are just distractions. Like find it within, feel it within. Just even 1 minute a day is something. So like there's no shame in not either. But if you seek it, like give yourself a minute, just 1 minute, see what happens. Try to make a minute every day. You know,
Yeah, that's
it
good.
makes yeah. It's just this is actually so I mean, I there's not much more to what you said, but it's such a big deal for I feel people to realize. Like this is your health too. Like you have no idea if you're eating a bag of M&Ms, you're gonna later go, God, I feel so sick. But in your brain, you're like, oh, candy, sugar, childhood, happiness. You know, I deserve this. Indulgence is okay. Like all these things that are not actually things you really think if you pause just a minute and give yourself that minute to remember, like that you matter, or that this doesn't feel good, or if a doctor tells you, in my case, no, you're not having a kidney stone, you're having all these other things, and you're like, it's such a, a fight within you. You have to be like, well, maybe this isn't true. Like, maybe it's not a kidney stone. Maybe I feel this. Maybe I feel that. And like spending weeks like so stressed out that you're gonna die just to find out that you had a kidney stone. It's like, it's just the self trust thing. Like knowing yourself and trusting yourself is just such a big deal. It's where you find, I think, that safety, so you can let go of your things that are taking up space in your life that you are not served by, that don't serve you.
That's right. That's right.
Thank
And
you.
and we just have to get back to finding Tao within us and starting
Yeah.
to look at all of the places where we've lost Tao. And this verse helps us kind of identify those things a little bit.
Even if you can't find him, you can go back and you can start at square one and pick a different direction, I think.
Yeah. I love you, Kelly. Thank you
I
so
love you
much for
too.
joining me.
Hopefully your pipes get well. You too.
Oh, yeah,
All
they will. All is
right.
well.
Love you too.
Bye. All right, we got Dr. Rao and then Mojo. Mojo, I would love if you can stick around and chat with me a little about the Tao. Dr. Rao, how are you?
I'm good, Martin.
Good, good, good. We're just talking Tao. How's how's Tao in your life?
Uh, Tao is my life.
Yes,
It's not in my life, but it is my life.
yes.
I hope that's not a petulant answer, but that's true.
No, that is the perfect answer. I was asking more as a platform just to kind of
Oh,
discuss a little bit more. Yeah.
in Sanskrit, this is called Atmanishta.
Atmanishta.
Uh, so, I mean, we don't want to claim that there is an Atman and all of that, but
Right.
then to express what it is, you were talking of the losing Tao, right?
Hmm.
I cannot question that though, because you are Tao, then how can you lose it,
Ah, yes. Very good. Very good.
right? But what they are talking about is if you are not in touch with the Tao, or you don't allow the Tao to come up. Let us put it that
Yeah.
you are Tao, but you are not allowing the Tao to express it. Rather, you are letting the other part of it, which is in Sanskrit anatma. Okay, atma,
Mm.
all right, soul and not soul, like or essence of life and non-essence of life, right?
Yeah.
They have expressed in other way too. There was a poem where it goes like there's a lower self, which we are talking about, and the higher self, which is the Tao or Brahman we are talking about, right? So they said if the lower self is subdued, that word is important, Martin, subdued by the higher self, then the self really helps you.
Mm.
Whereas if you let the lower self dominate the higher self, which you are talking about,
Yeah.
the Tao losing and all that, So that means it is there, but it is dominated by the what is not Tao. You see that you were
Yeah.
talking earlier. So then the self will act against you. You see, the universal self will act against you because you let the lower self dominate your higher self.
Right.
So the essential thing is the higher self is there and it subdues the smaller self. Then you are not like a becoming or growing or nothing. You just realize that you are the Tao.
Yes.
See, when you asked how is Tao in your life, I said, no, I'm the Tao.
I am the Tao. Yes, and that is the answer. Like that is the answer. No matter where,
Yeah.
even if our lower self is dominant for a time, we are
Hey,
still Tao.
like you are talking to somebody and you can see whether they are talking through the lower self, that is the built-in personality and all that,
Mm-hmm.
because the structure of the society, parenting, schooling, all that, right, that leads to that, or they realize their Tao and then
Mm.
think from there.
Yeah.
See, the warning I always give it to you.
Yep, I know it. you you stay in doubt. Stay
Yes,
in doubt.
yeah, that is the Atmanishta I'm talking about.
Yeah.
See, there is a something I remember frequently. It's like a more like a mantra for me. A mantra doesn't have to have Sanskrit words, but it is a
Right.
thing that I want to repeat. The sentence I'm repeating all the time is, one's attention has always to be poised in one's self. Bigger S, bigger self we're talking about.
Yes.
One's attention has always to be poised on one's inner self,
Has always to be poised
on
on
one's inner
one's inner
self.
self.
Is, suppose I'm having these thoughts, I'm entering a mind that they're telling from their mind, from their experience, from their truth, whatever they think that is. I can see very clearly, is it coming from the mind or above that?
Mm.
See, the moment you said, how is your Tao? I said, no, I don't have.
Right.
See, simply, very simple. Okay, and that's the truth. We all know about it, but then we kind of allow this lower self dominate us.
Yes.
That is the one caution I was always talking about: is don't let that be dominating you. You got that means, like, for example, I was having a discussion with my wife and my sister this morning
Mm-hmm.
about this philosophical thing we're talking. And my sisters, they're very rich in India now. Okay, they
Yep.
have a palatial home. They call it villa. That's what they call
Mm.
these people who have the money. They do that.
Yeah.
And her children are there, but then, as anybody who has a lot of money, they have the bickerings, right? So that is something that goes through all families. Not maybe that degree, but still, she wasn't very happy that they are not settling it down, right? She's 80 years old. So having all those things and all that didn't really result in peace of mind for them, right? And I know a actor friend who is rich and also famous
Mm-hmm.
and popular and all, right? So we were in Chicago with him one day,
I
so
remember. Yeah.
yeah, he made a video of the lakeside and all. We all made all road videos like. So he was showing the place, the lake, the ice cream. The guy goes on the wheels and three wheeler, and all the things. He captured them, and he was telling them. And then he showed all the three of us also there, and he was so enamored by the place and what it is and all that. He didn't even introduce the people around him.
Mm.
You see,
Yeah.
of course, I do not care about somebody friends or not, because uh, I don't go for those things, right? So
Right.
the, kind of I noticed it. The thing with him is, even there's a amani bhava. That means uh, giving value to these things that are anatman.
Yeah.
Possessions, name, fame, likes. So how many people are commenting all those
Mm-hmm.
things? If you are satisfied with that, then you are missing out on the Tao completely.
Right.
See, you have them, just to leave them. That's it. But giving importance at the expense of Tao, that's the problem.
Yes.
That was happening with him. He traveled all the way from there to spend time with me, so that he will learn some spiritual truths and transformation and all that. But after came here, I told him to put the phone away. He didn't, so he was conducting the business as usual.
Yeah.
And he missed out on that, right? And the other thing is, because I'm not going to force down your throat. If you open up,
No, no. If you miss it, you miss it. That's
yeah.
fine. There's nothing wrong
Then
with
and
missing.
then other thing is, I told them I'm going to take you some places and show you where my spiritual readings and sadhana, everything have happened in the 80s. I'm going to show you those. The lake, the ramp into the lake on the mountain.
Yeah.
You know,
Montrose Harbor, or Montrose Beach, right? Or not beach, but the
yeah.
harbor right there. That's
See, they used to
beautiful.
be having that ramp all the way into the lake. I
Yeah.
used to go at the edge and sit down there, and then I was in the among the all the water like surrounding me, right? And then
Hmm.
very peaceful place. And I used to, um, you know, study books or do the whatever I was doing with my spiritual thing. It's not like a empty thinking. It's much more than what is thinking, what about thinking, all those. Anyway, that's the spiritual. Experiences. I was going to share with them so that they can understand where I'm coming from to, and didn't show any interest in that at all. So that's a last opportunity as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Because your mind is occupied with this silly things. They are okay. You can experience, but then you have to make room. Otherwise, you will miss out. Right in front of you, there will be opportunities to flower from within.
Right.
Lots of times when you tell, oh, Dr. Rao, you said this and now that's what's happening to you, flowering.
Yeah.
You can compare with anybody else too, because that can happen, right? They have the same truth or something, they unfold, then you also kind of, this is called Satya Sodhana. Satya means truth. Sodhana means questing for it.
Mm.
If you are in the truth questing, it doesn't matter who it is, the opportunities will be there. But especially somebody really spiritually inclined comes along, don't lose the opportunity.
Mm.
You see,
Yeah.
what I was pointing out to them is, I'm not criticizing my friend. I said I understand where he's coming from, but then he lost out. I told him also, but then he cannot get out of that craze with his fans. You see,
Right.
he is picturizing it for his fans. He
Yeah.
was wanting to share that, but that's all fine. But how about, what's the purpose you came? Why you are spending all this time? What is near, and it may be not there later. And
Right.
afterwards, I only talked to him a couple of times because it was only brief, because he was busy again going shooting and all of that. You see,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, that is called amani bhava, giving importance to things that are not important for you, but you think they are important for you.
Right.
Having the status, having the money, having all these things, that is important. If you think, then what happens? You will miss out on the Tao.
Right.
That,
You'll get
yeah,
lost. I mean, you can't
yeah,
really get lost, but you will give credence to that lower self.
yeah. The example is, the lower self is dominating you,
Hmm.
dominating your higher self. That's what happened exactly there.
Yeah.
So- but they don't realize, but that happens in daily life all the time. See, most of the people you look at on the social media, wisdom or not, clubhouse, what I find is, uh, very people on this truth quest. They say my truth and all of that. That's also uh, thought talking about it, but actually they are in the lower self,
Yeah.
and that is dominating the higher self. So what it is to begin with, we are the higher self. Stay there, and then let that subdue this smaller self coming up.
Yeah. I
That,
like that. I like that. That like you know get
yeah,
that get that smaller self, get that lower self. Just
yeah.
like it has a place, but we
That's
have
it.
to make sure it's
Yeah,
subdued.
it should not dominate you. That's all.
Right. Right.
It can do things, we will do things, but then
Yeah.
if you identify with it, if you let it dominate, then you're going to be restless, and then you want. See, there are another thing too. I think this is very important, Martin. I think you should observe this,
Yeah.
because it's very important. See, the peace gets The peace happens. Actually, this is it. The peace happens to the mind,
Yes.
but the Tao or the Brahman or Atman, it is peace itself.
Hmm.
That means he doesn't have to strive anywhere to get peace. It is peace itself.
Right. Yeah.
See the difference? Mind, if you are there, you got to strive for the peace.
Right.
Restless you are, strive for it. But to begin with, you are the Tao, you are the Brahman. That itself is peace.
Right. No matter what can be observed from the outside,
Yeah.
no matter what war is happening externally that can be observed by someone else, it is not war
Yeah.
to me because I am Tao. I am in this experience, and this experience is one of peace.
Yeah. That's it. The experiencer is the Tao. That
Right.
itself love. That itself is bliss. That itself is the peace.
Yes.
In Sanskrit, it's expressed as Shantam. Shantam means, Shanti means,
You just dropped off. Come back up and tell me what Shanta means. And then we have Mojo in line, and I'm excited to chat with my brother Mojo when we are done here. So Shanta,
remember
go on.
that. Peace happens to the mind because it is restless. Okay?
Yeah.
Whereas if you are in the Tao, you are in peace itself.
Right. Because that is what Tao is. Like that, there is nothing other than that.
Now, for each person, figuring out whether they are in the Tao, in peace, or they are in the mind, which is restless, and then work towards the peace. That means
Yeah.
establish yourself in the Tao.
Yes. Ugh.
Yeah, not, I don't think you have to say that. Realize that you are in Tao.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That's the question where we started. Is it? How is your Tao? I said,
I see
that's
that.
it.
That's beautiful.
Mind will have to go towards the Tao. That is okay. But you are essentially in the Tao.
Hmm.
Okay,
And we
Martin.
just want to stay there.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's the
we do.
thing. That is the thing I was always pointing
Always,
to.
and you still are, and I
Yeah.
appreciate it. And that is my we we will get there.
What is happening to you is you talk to people who are not in the Tao,
Right.
and you come down for them to the mind. That's okay, but just be careful that you are not dominated by the smaller self. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yes.
That-
I
Okay.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Oh, bye bye.
And I'm looking forward to a new year and being in touch. So I will give you a call
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah. Sure.
We're bringing out Mojo. It has been a while since I've had a group like this. We got Julie, Lois, Kelly, Mojo, Dr. Rao. What's up, brother? How you doing? You're muted. I don't know if you're on a call. I always give everybody about a 30 seconds to a minute to get back on, just in case he is on a call. I don't have anyone in line, so as I am waiting on Mojo,
Check
I
one.
just wanted to. There you
I
are.
can't hear
There you
anything.
are.
Something's going
I
on
can.
here.
You cannot hear me. I can hear you now.
Hello?
Hello? I'm going to take you out and then bring you back in. Or, nope, you're going to go out yourself and then come back in. Let's try that. And you're coming on again, and we'll see if this one works. Let's see. You can't hear me when you were on. That was unfortunate. Hello, can you hear me now? Mojo?
Hey, can you hear me?
I got you now.
All right. If at first you don't succeed, just keep
Yeah,
trying.
I was gonna kick you out and see you come back in, and we'll see what comes of it. It has been a while, my brother. How are you doing?
I'm well, my friend. How are you?
I am well. I am well as well. It's been a
Great to hear
it's
your
been a
voice.
wonderful end of 2022, and I'm not that Like I don't celebrate the new year or anything. It's just something to say as we enter the last week in this odd week of limbo as we as we move into
Yes.
the new year.
Yeah. So true. Suspended between holidays.
Yeah, just like it's just that odd week, that you just try and figure out, like, it's a nice week because it's a week that I think it's easier to do nothing. It's an easier week to be quiet. It's an easier week to just be still.
That's true. Yeah, there are very little demands usually between Christmas and New Year's. It's true. Good reminder, a chance to reset and reconnect on that quiet level, which is so vital.
Yeah, and everybody gets a day off for Christmas, and this Christmas was a Sunday. And so everyone got Monday off. So it was like long weekend of a longer weekend. Like of, it was just it was very, it's, like when Christmas is on Wednesday, nobody knows what to do on that Monday or Thursday and stuff. And,
Yeah,
and, um, when it's on a Sunday, everyone's just like, well, we're going to take some extra days.
right. Yeah. How have you been?
I've been really well. I've been really well. I've this year from the beginning, from the dark retreat and everything, it was all, this year had really been all about receiving, and
Yeah,
I have received more than I could have ever imagined I would have received in the last 365 days.
right. Yeah, it just reminds me this year for me has been much receiving and giving, and that it's been really a matter of focus because all those gifts, right, blessings, experiences, they're available, but just oftentimes I can get distracted and rush by or not recognize them. So that mindfulness and that attention to that kind of stuff, that those blessings and the wonderful things that I am receiving and able to give, just being aware of it is uh, so helpful, so life changing.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, just kind of taking that step back and being aware that this can be received, and then
Yes,
purposefully receiving it rather than being like, this is what I have to take.
right.
This is what is happening to me. Like
Yeah,
that whole, what is it to me or for me, right? Is like, and like when you get into the place of receiving, you're just like, oh, this is for me. I get to receive this.
that's right. I get to rather than I have to. That's been a big shift for me this year
Yeah.
because the have to takes the momentum and energy and mindset to a difficult place, but I can swap that to I get to, that this is an opportunity, and it just puts me in a totally different place of receptivity, as you talked about.
Yeah, that's a big shift in the world of recovery for people. When
Oh
you're in
yeah,
recovery, you're just like, I have to be sober. No, you get to be sober, man. Like you
right,
get you
yeah,
get to be aware of what's going on with your kids. You get to be awake for this experience.
right, yeah. Yeah, even the struggles and challenges that shift between I have to struggle or I have to be challenged or I have to do anything to I get to, that resistance can be resistance training. It builds resilience and muscles and grit and confidence. It really is a gift.
Yeah, it definitely is. Well, as we kind of speak about this, do you have a number for me today?
Yeah, let's go 27.
Wow, that's the one I was staring at when you said
All
that.
right.
So here we are.
Awesome.
The mystery of the process. It seems like we're going to be talking a little bit more about get
Check
to
that
and
out.
have to.
Yep.
Let's see. So, the mystery of the process. Although a good traveler may have plans, they are not rigid, nor is the outcome. Although a good artist creates, creations are arrived at through intuition. Although a good scientist observes, it is done for the first time, every time. By embodying these strategies, the master accepts everyone and makes use of every situation. Nothing is wasted, and every moment is imbued with light. What is the good if not a vision for the bad? What is the bad if not a lesson for the good? Accept this completely, or you will suffer in all you do. It is the great secret.
Talked about synchronicity right out of our
Right?
conversation.
Right?
Yeah, before we
Yeah,
even
as
read
we
it.
were talking about get to and have to, we look at like what is the good if not a vision for the bad? It's a vision of like, what do I get? What do I get to do? What is the bad if not a lesson for the good? The bad is like, oh, I have to do this. It's just like, no, this is a lesson. And if you could see it that way, you could really step into it.
Yeah, yeah. This perspective just reminds me of the value of pain or suffering or challenges. That rather than that being something I should not, don't want, don't like, grumble, complain about. Really, it's a matter of perspective, seeing that this is an opportunity to grow, to learn, to accomplish, right? Or just a matter of seeing it differently.
Yeah. And that's what the first part of this, we talk about the good traveler, the good artist, and the good scientist, right? The good traveler may have plans. They are although they may have plans, they are not rigid, nor is the outcome. So the
Right.
destination is not necessarily rigid. And the plans on how to get to the destination aren't rigid either.
Yeah, I love that. In fact, reminds me, getting blown off course that initially seems like a pain in the rear, but it might just take us to an excursion and experience something that wasn't on our itinerary, right? That turned out to be a huge blessing or a great experience, something that we never could have expected. And I even remember hearing about how the autopilots on the big planes, you fly from California to New York, a majority of the time the plane is actually off course and it's constantly course correcting due to the atmosphere and circumstances and the wind conditions, all that kind of stuff. And just that reminder that being off course doesn't mean that you're in the wrong, that you're doing something wrong. It's just a matter of uh, observation, course correction, and even that embracing those unexpected excursions that weren't on my itinerary.
Yeah. This beginning continues with like telling you that it's not your doing, right? Although a good artist creates, creations are arrived at through intuition. It isn't
Yeah.
the artist and their conscious mind that is making the creation. It is the intuition, is the connection to something greater.
Mm, yeah, I love that. It's so good about seeing and feeling and sensing, and again that awareness that oftentimes that creation process, it's not something that I'm doing. It's something that I'm allowing, right? That
Yeah.
it's not
Hmm.
necessarily flowing from me. It's flowing through me, and man, that is a
Yeah.
profound sense of connection to something far greater than my limited experience.
Right. And then we talk about like what is your expectations and what are your preconceived ideas? Because although a good scientist observes, it is done for the first time every time.
Mm, love that. Done for the first time every time. Yeah. Again, what a great reminder not to have prejudged what the outcomes will look like or should look like, but that openness that every experience is like an experiment where
Yeah,
I can discover something new even in something familiar.
that's right. And that's the thing. Something new and something familiar. And as we continue to read through this, by embodying these strategies of being a good scientist in our life, a good artist in our life, and a good traveler in our life, the master accepts everyone and makes use of every situation. Nothing is wasted, and every moment is imbued with light.
And that just it pours in meaning and purpose into every moment because it's so easy to get mired in a perspective that says why, why is this happening to me, right, rather
Right.
than what is happening now for me, and embracing um, that opportunity for learning, for growth, for experience. That
And
really
if we
is
look
the
at
key.
if if we look at these three things, like a good traveler, they may have plans, but they're not rigid, nor is the outcome. If your plans were rigid, then you would waste time worrying about the destination because the plans went wrong. And here it's saying, like, nothing is wasted when the master embodies all of these. You know, also with the good scientist, observation is done, but it's done for the first time every time. So if you observe something that's familiar, you continue to observe and you don't predict what you're going to see or what you're going to do, because that once again will diminish the light of this moment.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Not only do you don't predict, but you also don't. A reminder not to judge the outcomes. So if I'm not attached to a particular outcome, which really is my limited understanding of what should happen, right?
Yep.
Then I'm really open, receptive to something that I did not expect, and embracing that as a gift, as we talked about.
Yeah. And then that's where we kind of enter this last section, which states, what is the good if not a vision for the bad? You know, what is the bad if not a lesson for the good? Accept this completely, or you will suffer in all you do. It is the great secret. You know, what is the good? The good is like, if I'm not a good traveler, then being a good traveler, not having these plans, is a good vision for me as someone who's bad at at holding on to plans and stressing out. What is the
Yeah,
bad if not a lesson for the good? As a good traveler, I can witness when I fall out of being a good traveler, of being someone, when I start holding too tightly to an outcome. I can learn from that so I can continue to get better.
absolutely. Yeah, that does. It puts value and purpose into every experience, whether we would judge them as good or bad. Why, that's such a great reminder. It is a powerful secret for putting meaning and purpose and hope, right? Hope even into
Mm-hmm.
the most bleak of situations, or the least desirable situations.
Yeah, you know, and that's what this kind of ends with. Accept this completely, or you will suffer in all that you do. Because if you don't learn, if you don't, if the good in someone else is not looked at, if you see something in the world, you know, and Andy Scarantino used to talk about this a lot in her work, and she would always say, you know, when you look at someone that that is doing something that you know you should be doing, you look down on them.
Hmm.
You know, like you look at them and you say, "Oh, look at that asshole! Like they're just doing this and that and this and that, and they're not, you know, like." And you talk down about them when you're so stuck in your lower self. And that is, and this is like, what is the good if not a vision for the bad? That's what it is. It's a vision for that person who hasn't accomplished anything or who's down on themselves. And so they look at someone doing something better than they are, doing something good, and they look down on them. Why? Because what is the good if not a vision for the bad? But the bad has to be willing. They have to be aware of this and accept this completely, or you will suffer in all you do. And if you don't become aware of that and you start talking smack about people that are doing good things, well, then maybe you haven't learned this lesson that the good is a vision for you. And what is the bad if not a lesson for the good? And if you don't recognize that bad things in your life and in the lives of others is still a lesson for you, then you're not going to be humble. And that's how those two play off of each other. Accept this completely, or you will suffer in all you do. This is the great secret. Come on back up, Mojo, if you can, and we'll wrap that up. Um, I would love to finish this up really nicely. Do I got you?
And the word, the word that comes to mind as you're reading through this, as I'm listening, is invitation. That the good or bad, quote unquote, good or bad in others or in myself, those are both invitations to either be grateful, right? Or
Mhm.
perhaps to be grateful either way, and also to learn. So is there something in me that I can learn and change and grow from, right? Is there what is the lesson in the good and the bad? That's such an invitation, a reminder.
Beautiful. Yeah. That's such a this is one that I've talked about a lot, and you know, this is, I think this might be the first time that I've read this version, which is my rendition, my translation. And I'm really grateful for this, like for being able to go over this with you, because I think it's a I think we did it some justice.
Absolutely. No, me too. And I just love the fact that it was perfectly aligned with what we were talking about before I even picked the number. That just love it
Yeah.
when that happens.
And it happens always. It's like
It does.
that
Yeah.
is the nature of things when we are able to just like be present and then allow everything to speak through us.
Absolutely. Hey, and I just want to say before my time's up, how grateful I am for the times that you and I have connected.
Yeah.
Many times I get to listen to you speaking with others, and then occasionally I get to join in as well. But each of those moments have been really helpful in my own journey and my growth, and the sense of friendship and love between you and I is a precious gift to me, and I'm grateful for that in this year, 2022. So
Oh,
thank you for blessing my life, brother.
oh, and thank you as well. I read a book this year that I would have probably not have read had you not suggested it, and that was fuck. What's the title? Uh,
Anti-fragile.
Anti-Fragile, and I was really grateful for that read. It was beautiful, and I appreciate it, and I still think we should we should talk about that at some point.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's so much good stuff in there. I think it'd be great to go back over it with you, and then also for those that could tune in. And I think there's so many great, valuable perspectives there. I'd love that. Let's find a time to do that in this new year.
I would love that. All right, you have a wonderful new year if I don't speak to you, and have a great day otherwise. And
You
love
too.
you, and I am grateful for our connection.
Bless you, friend.
Bless you. All right, so that has been like an hour and a half. This has been a very long Tao of the day. Not longer than it has been in the past, but I don't do these long ones very often anymore. Thank you so much, Mojo, Dr. Rao, for all your wisdom. Kelly and Lois and Julia, you guys have, or Julie, you guys all bless me with your presence in my life, and I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Once again, I'm Martin John. If you benefit from the work I do, please consider passing on a little tip through Venmo at @MartinJohn_Garcia. I will have my version of the DAO and an app for DAO of the Day coming out in 2023. And I would greatly appreciate any support that you guys can send me. You can do that once again through Venmo at @MartinJohn_Garcia. When I say support, of course, I mean financially at this point. Other support, of course, is very important as well. Love and support and all of those sorts of things. Coming on DAO of the Day and picking numbers helps me finish up the app, because it's going to have audios from this app. So I appreciate that. And other than that, I love you guys, and I really appreciate your support here on Wisdom and in my life. Thank you once again. And until next time, keep recovering yourself.